See a difference in these two books? Slight difference? Boy, do I have a story about this book. Stick around, I'm going to get to it. Let's get right to this. It's part of Marching Madness. Please find links to Jason, ChapterandVerse, Lukas at Totally Pretentious, and Alex at Bigalbooks. Below, links to them. I'm trying to decide if I want to, unpack the novel, really dig into it, or save it, because I have the two copies. I'll be rereading this again soon, probably within months this year, and I'll be reading The Savage Detectives, translated by the same person, Natasha Wimmer. She won an award for that as well. I'm also going to leave links below to Cliff at BetterThanFood book reviews and to The Book Chemist, because I was turned on to this book last year by Cliff. I had never heard of Roberto Bolaño before, and I was intrigued. And then this year, The Book Chemist is going to read it, and I ordered it from the library. That's the other book. And it came in really, really soon. And then the Marching Madness came up, so I read it, and I really love this book. I know I'm going to approach it this way, I guess, through Santa Teresa, the city. And that it relates to all 5 parts, and I'll say books when he refers to them as parts, but they're also books. They were written separately. There's a really good history on the writing and publication of this novel. Nogales is Nogales, Arizona, and Nogales, Mexico. It's on like the Tucson border right there. I spent a lot of time in Phoenix, Arizona, and I know Tucson a bit. I know the Sonoran Desert very well. Now, Nogales is a place where little kids sell chiclets, run around saying, chiclet, chiclet, chiclet. People are grabbing you to sell blankets and gringo and gringo. Not putting it down, not saying anything bad about anything. I'm just saying what it is. It's really poverty-stricken. Yeah, what you do is you park at, well, you used to park, I'm talking a long time ago, but you park at McDonald's and walk across the border. And man, this is, I'm talking a long time ago. I haven't been there in decades anyway. Yes, so having had a library book, I didn't want to mark it up. I'm a big annotator. I mark my books. I write in my books. So I used a notebook, and I have tons of notations. The writing in this is excellent. I'm reminded of, so this is what I mean. I can go into great detail about each of the books, each of the parts. Just off the top of my head then, the part about the critics. The first part are these 3 scholars, and really geeky kids all the way up to they get their PhDs young, and they're professors, and they're just enamored by this Archambault writer. He's a German writer, and just so part 1 is just all that. There's a female character, Liz Norton, who sleeps with all 3 of them. I'm not going to spoil anything. The things he does with language and writing in here are just, they're new, but they're reminiscent of Pynchon and Joyce. Like, part 4 is the part where you hear about all the murders and that, and graphic detail, but kind of sterile detail, cop-like criminal procedure writing. But it's all in, I'll add a photo, it's all in straight block text, no paragraphs, reminiscent of the last chapter of Ulysses, last episode of Ulysses, episode 18, Penelope, where the dialogue is not set off with quotation marks or dashes or anything. It's just in there. And that's like part 4. A lot of supernatural things in this novel. Ghosts, characters hear voices. There's crazy people, or are they? You know, people in asylums. Let's see. 3, the part about faith is you'll see in reviews of 2666 that people have a favorite part. Like Clifford, he liked part 1. Other people like part 4. You know, reminiscent of Cormac McCarthy novels. The kind of graphic things. This is brutal. Rape in it, beheadings, things like that. In the storyline, boy, I'm going to be all over the place in this. In the storyline, people do get arrested. Usually, boyfriends or ex-boyfriends, but that's not. They don't get to the serial killer until the end. And it's going to be hard for me not to spoil this. Without just not even talking about it, which I'm not going to spoil it, so I won't. It is a true novel of the cliche, the end is in the beginning. I'll say that. So my favorite part might be, I like all of them, but it might be the part about fate, 3, but they're going to a fight, a boxing match, and there's a character goes by 2 names, which is part of this novel too, part of the twist in here, part of how they tie it in, circle all together. The Black Panthers and the Black Panther movement, there's a character in that. He mixes history with fiction in a great way. Like, for example, there's a Barry Seaman character in part 3, who he's got the same initials, he's got the same kind of swagger as Barry Sear, co-founder of the Black Panthers. So we get into that, it almost gets into like a Negro stereotypical, a la Shaft, a la 60 type movies. The writing in this is, I can't say enough good things about it. That part reminded me of Tree of Smoke by Dennis Johnson. Sometimes I think it's on purpose, he wants to remind you of different writers. Other times I know it is, not only writers, but directors like David Lynch, references to Blue Velvet in here. He'll like stylize his writing to make you think of other things. Part 3, the fight part, the boxing, all the stuff in great detail and characters and information about the fighters and the fight and this and that. The fight is all over in a small paragraph. It's really anticlimactic. I was disappointed in that. There's a tarot reader in here. There's great, maybe I'll read from, so there's great sex in here, great situations, hilarity like a Confederacy of Dunces, if I haven't mentioned that. James Joyce is mentioned on page 803. It's just a travelogue of cities throughout the world, adventures, stories within stories, a la Pynchon, but much easier to read. I didn't have to go to, I don't even know if there's a Roberto Bolaño wiki or 2666, annotations or anything like that. I was afraid going in that I didn't know enough about Latin American poets or writers, and I don't. But that was that fear was quashed. I'll show a picture of these maps or pyramids of philosophers, which is interesting, which is reminiscent of other writers, and Pynchon getting into detail about the Latin names of flowers and going on for pages about that, but making it interesting. The book is separated by these bullet points, which makes it great. You can find places to take a rest. I spent hours with this book. I finished it over the weekend, and I'm just getting around. You can see how I don't know where to hook on to it, and I feel like just redoing this video again because there's too much to talk about it. Yeah, and how there's not hundreds of characters in here, like say Gravity's Rainbow, but there's a lot, and he confuses them. There's like there's the Archibaldi character, but then there's and also I'm finding it very interesting that reading over these notes, I'm reminded of passages that I forgot that were really intense and memorable and just enjoyable to read. And so I think, I'm sorry for the scatterbrained review. It's not a review. It's just part of a marching madness. So I'm on to, also due to the book chemist, I don't know when we're going to start this, but I'm getting to jump ahead. I'm on chapter 2, page 119. And this has been going good with no secondary sources either. Although I am going back to it because he gets in. This takes place on a balloon during the World's Fair in Chicago, the White City. And when I say balloon, I mean a aircraft carrier-sized balloon that sails around the world. So we'll start there. It's like a camaraderie with the crew and the chums of chance, these young swashbuckling men, so that's where, but I had to go back because they're starting to talk about light particles and how a character is communicating with light and lightning and electricity, so it's getting a little pinch-on-y for me. So, I'm not going to finish that by the end of the month, but I'm going to start it. And I'm also going to be, finally, my review from last year, another book turn on from Clifford at BetterThanFood Book Reviews. This is a big, hard book. This slim little book of Monell has stuck with me for months. It fit easily in my pocket. It was just a joy to read. And I'll be reviewing this probably by the end of the week. And I'll take it off I'll put it out of my back pocket and onto my shelf. Unfortunately, I'll be getting back to this book. It was a joy. So anyway, I think I'm going to stop there. 2666, the title, is it a date? That's what they say in here, the editors. It goes back to a date, in 1966. I've also heard it say that it's 2666, on your way to hell. It's a hellish ride, but there's moments of humor, great humor, and there's a lot to sink your teeth into. I really enjoy this type of read. I like getting into it and seeing how things are self-referential. When I say he does things with language here, I mean that there's a character who takes over another character's identity without spoiling too much. It's a writer who assumes another writer's entire soul. And you know, how that's weaved into the murders and all, and Santa Teresa is part of the masterpiece. Bolaño. Talk to you soon. Thank you.